Hello, I'm going to do the Pisces energy reading, and this may or may not resonate with you. If it does, take the parts that do resonate. If it does not, leave the parts that do not resonate, as those may be meant for someone else. All right, we're going to look at what you may possibly be struggling with, what you may need to look at, and possible future energies for Pisces. Bottom of the deck, we have Dolphin Spirit. This and that are true. I feel like it's just having fun and letting go of the negativity, but focusing on the positive. To not try and do everything, but do the parts, do the things that make you happy. Focus on what's important to you. So what you may be struggling with is we have Fox Spirit, and that is think on your feet. So I feel like that's being quick-witted. Not letting something brew for a long time. Not letting a situation brew for a long time. Sometimes if there's something that has happened, that if we respond quicker to it and then we move on and it's done, it's over, we're past it. But sometimes we just hang on to things for way too long, and then it starts to build up more negativity, and then it starts to build into resentment, and then it starts to snowball into this bigger problem. So I feel like there's a situation that you're holding on to it too much, that you're overthinking it, that maybe you're overprocessing it, that maybe you're starting to build resentment. Sometimes if we don't clear the air, we don't clear the energy, it becomes a bigger problem than what it actually initially was, and it starts to branch off into different areas. If we're frustrated or we're upset about something, if we don't work through it right away, and we don't say someone said something that was upsetting to you and you didn't say anything, and the more you thought about it, the angrier you're getting. And the more frustrated you're getting, and then it's becoming a bigger problem. And if you had just spoken up at that moment and said, you know what, that really bothered me, or what did you mean by that, or, that really upset me, or, instead of clearing the air at that moment, that if you stepped back and you didn't say anything, that it becomes a bigger problem. And I feel like that's what's going on here. For what you need to focus on is make your dreams real, is that if you don't want to deal with drama, if you don't want to have that resentment, if you don't want to have those things build up, is to say, hey, I realize that if I don't face this right away, if I don't work through this right away, that this is going to become a bigger problem for me, so I'm going to face it. I'm going to make my dreams real and say, I don't want to live in drama, or I don't want to live in resentment or anger or frustration, that I'm going to deal with those situations that come up right away, because I know that it's going to fester. I don't want them to fester. And then for future energies, we have magic works through you, but the magic is through you because you're the one that are making those choices and you're making those changes. That you're in control of making these changes. You're in control of making things happen. You're in control of making your dreams real. To not put that into someone else, that you are in control of that. All right, so let's get some tarot. Thinking on your feet. Holding back. That's exactly what I was saying, is that you're yes. 3 of Swords. That's exactly what I was just saying, and that's exactly what I was feeling. Is that by not facing a situation right away, being quick, right, thinking on your feet and saying, okay, yep, I know I got to deal with this now, because if I don't, it's going to fester. But if you're struggling with that, because it starts to build up the resentment, you start to shut down, you start to back away, you start to focus on the 3 of Swords, right? That you need to find the solution and realize, hey, that if there's a problem, I need to work through it right away. I need to share. I need to get it off my chest, that I need to get past this right away. I want to work on that 4 of Wands, right? That partnership, that coming together. What is it that is important to you? That relationships take work. that it can't always be left up to the other person, that, okay, if there's a disagreement, that that person has to be the one that approaches you and they have to be the one to work it out. That if time has gone by, or nothing's happened, or that you really want to work past this, that you step up to the plate. That you take control of the situation, because that becomes more rewarding, right? Because you're in power. You've taken control of the situation. You didn't let the situation take control of you. That you're like, okay, I'm going to take control of this. I'm not going to let it fester. I'm not going to let it shut me down. I'm not going to focus on the Three of Swords. I'm going to move past that. I'm going to release that burden. I'm going to release that heaviness. Seven of Swords. That if there was some deception, that you find clarity in that. If something happened between you and... that's what I feel like, is something happened between you and someone else. But it's not deceiving yourself either, and saying, oh, well, I'll get past this and this won't bother me, because I feel like it will bother you. Getting to the truth of the matter, getting to the bottom, because we have the dolphin spirit, which is this and that and true. Okay, this and that are true. Finding out what's true and what's not true. But you're taking control of this situation. That if you want change with something, if you want something to be resolved, if you want something to be different, that you have to take control of the situation. All right, so let's get a final message. Queen of Cups, emotions and feelings. Definitely, I feel like this is an emotional situation for you, and it's not always easy to step up to the plate and deal with something. The Star, Aquarius, and that's what I said, is I felt like it had to do with a relationship. Coming together, seeing eye to eye, working things through, compromising, communicating. If we don't communicate and we hold our feelings in and we don't express how we feel, we can't assume... Don't assume that the other person knows how you're feeling, right? And not leaving the situation into others' hands, that if it's something that's important to you, that you take control of the situation. And you don't let it fester to where you start to back away, or you start to focus on the Three of Swords. Because then I feel like it turns into anger, it turns into bitterness, it turns in, like I said in the very beginning, that it turns into something bigger than it should have been to begin with. Sometimes it's hard for us to realize, okay, yeah, I got to step up to the plate. And I've definitely had those situations where there's been a disagreement between me and my sister, and before we would just shut down and we wouldn't talk about it, and we wouldn't talk for, weeks or months, but then there was something that had happened, and the next day we worked through it, because I said, I need to step up to the plate, and I need to, we need to work through this. Because this relationship is important to me, and I don't want it to be the way it used to be. And I want to work through it, and I want to work past it, and I want to get the relationship back on track. So I feel like that's the same thing that's going on here. All right, so let's get a Star Dragons. Sometimes we just need that person or that friend or that says, hey, you need to step up to the plate. You need to work through this. Trust, love, and friendship, right? What is this Two of Cups represent for you? Love and friendship. Is it a friendship? Trusting that you can work it out, building that trust between you and that person, that, hey, that person really didn't mean to hurt me, or I didn't mean to hurt that person. And knowing deep down inside that it wasn't malicious, if that's what you feel. Building that trust and saying, okay, I'm not going to let things fester. I'm not going to let things be bigger and blown out of proportion. Having trust within yourself that, hey, I need to reach out and I need to work through this, because I don't want it to be taking up all of my time, and I don't want to be focusing on this all the time, because I have other things to work on, and I just want there to be calmness within this. And that if I'm going to reach out and extend that olive branch, and if they decide to respond back and they decide to work through it, then that shows me trust on how they feel about the relationship. All right. Thank you so much for watching. As always, stay positive, stay safe, and I will see you next time.